What's going on, guys? I'm here with Joe. Now, if you guys remember in my Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice review, that was my spoiler-free review. This is the spoiler-filled discussion, aka my second opinion, because I have now seen this film twice. My thoughts have fully come together full circle. Joe saw the film last night. Let's just get off right the bat of our thoughts. So, Joe, what did you think of the film?
Oh, that was absolutely, well, I won't say it was great. It was good. Here's the thing, a problem with this.
Okay.
I'm just... It was good.
Okay.
It wasn't great.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think it should have gotten as much criticism that the critics and several people have been giving it. I don't think it's a lower scored film than The Room, like on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, if you guys look, this has what 3% lower than The Room, if I remember correctly. If not, I think like 5 at the very max.
Oh wow, my film is better than Batman.
Superman. But no, I agree with you. The first time I saw it, I give it like a 4 out of 5. I will tell you guys my updated score, near the end of this video, but I will say this. My thoughts have changed, not a lot, but to a point.
Not to a point where he's like riffing on it for 90 minutes.
Oh, I wasn't really riffing it, but I was telling Lucas, I was like, okay, they could have done better this. I mean, like, when I went on for the first time, I had my fanboy mindset on.
Yes.
This one, I had my more critical mindset, and that's where my thoughts really changed. I will tell you this, guys, this much. My score hasn't changed that much, but it has definitely changed, but not by a whole margin. It has definitely changed.
And it's definitely not going to leave some sad Affleck moments. No.
It's
not just going to look like...
Speaking of Affleck, but before we get into the plot, I will definitely say one of the thing I loved about most was Ben Affleck. He was the thing I loved the very most. He stole, I think, the show until Wonder Woman came on the screen. But Ben Affleck, easily, we both agreed on this.
Yes.
Definitely the best movie Batman since Michael Keaton.
Better voice. Let's get that out of the way.
Better than that, to the winner. He can only go for so long with that voice. The thing I enjoyed most about Ben Affleck's portrayal about Bruce Wayne, especially, was the thought that you brought up the fact that he wasn't going for that playboy billionaire thing.
Yeah.
Where he had a very like kind of like a loss to his character.
Kind of reminded me of Batman Year One.
I've never seen Batman Year One.
It's if you read the comics and because he plays like an older version of himself. He's like older. He's in his 40s, but he comes back as Batman. That I think was was it Year One? I don't think it was Year One. Was it Year One? I know it's... I can't remember.
By far, Ben Affleck was my favorite part of the movie, and I don't know if it was your necessarily.
I think it's the best Batman ever.
Really?
I mean, as great as Michael Keaton is, nothing beats that voice. It definitely... I mean, think about it. Here's a guy that's in a suit. How do people not recognize the voice when you're Batman?
That is true. For me, for Batman-wise, like in the suit, I definitely think Ben Affleck takes the cake.
Yeah, that was a really good Batman suit.
And yeah, I will say that too. The Batman suit is easily the best Batman suit I've seen on film. Easily the best one. I mean, you can usually tell they took a lot of influence from Frank Miller's his graphic novels, Dark Knight Returns specifically, and Ben Affleck looked like a total badass in that suit. So getting into the film itself. Now, if you have not seen the title, this is going to be completely spoiler-filled. Completely. So if you haven't seen the film, go check out my spoiler-free review. That case has different thoughts because I do have different thoughts on certain subjects like Jesse Eisenberg, but that gets to that a little bit. We both agreed on this, that the opening scene to this movie is awesome.
It's spectacular in a lot of sense of the imagination. It's a good way to start a movie, get you invested into it.
Yes.
If it's boring off the top, forget it.
A lot of reviewers have said that if this definitely works. If Zack Snyder were to direct a Batman film, this would have been a great Batman film. Easily, I think.
It could have been.
I think this could have been a great Batman film because honestly, when it focuses more on Batman, I think I was more involved on Batman's side. When I went on to Superman's side, I was less involved with Superman this time around.
Really? Because it was the opposite for me.
Huh. Alright. Yeah. That's interesting.
But then again, I think I've always been more fan of Superman than I was Batman.
Oh, I've always been a bigger Batman fan.
So I think that sticks out. So this is Superman versus Batman right here.
I loved it how after it showed the death of Bruce Wayne's parents, how it pretty much cut to Bruce Wayne going to Metropolis as it was being destroyed. I loved that entire opening sequence. It was so well done.
Might I say, that's like the best depiction of like the murder of his parents in any Batman media I've seen. That is to me.
Honestly, I can agree with you to that. Yeah. Next to Nolan's interpretation of the death, I think Snyder's interpretation was really well done.
Yes.
Easily. I absolutely loved where it showed Bruce Wayne going to Metropolis as it was being destroyed. Like, that scene in particular was great. Like, I was talking to Lucas because he jumped the road to sit next to me.
Really?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, sorry, excuse me, pardon me.
Yeah, and so then I was like to Lucas, you got me, that was a pretty badass moment. I was like, okay, I have to admit that was pretty cool. It still gave me the chills when I saw Bruce Wayne running into the dust cloud. That shot gave me chills still. Like, just that one shot take of him running to the dust, and God, I just, but then that next shot, then you see him like walking around, and then you see a freaking horse.
I was like, yeah, was he in the dream world now or something like that? Are we going into Inception territory?
I was just like, why is there a horse in there?
How did it survive the explosion?
My second favorite moment in that entire scene was when you see when you see Bruce Wayne saving the little girl, and then he sees her. Okay, we're gonna get her back to your mom. Where is she? And then the camera points up to the building. Once that camera points up to there, you get right there why Batman hates Superman. You get it right there.
And he's getting his ass kicked as he's seeing him go down.
This I have to say, right here onwards, I felt the movie, honestly, it was really rough. How it's cut together is so discombobulating.
This is what I would think is they had a little bit of trouble trying to piece together the second act. Whereas the first and third acts were pieced together because they knew what they were getting.
Yes, I agree with you completely there, easily. Yeah, going from like Lois Lane to that magic bolt, I was like, honestly, I thought that subplot could have been cut out entirely with that. Oh God, I just thought that thing went nowhere. I mean, even though it ended, even though it did end, it just how I guess it was cut together. Just it was like that's the problem I had with Man of Steel was how it was cut together with the whole storyline. Because with Man of Steel, it was shown in flashbacks, Clark Kent's childhood. I feel like that they had that same issue with Dawn of Justice in the second act at least, because I feel like as soon as that nightmare sequence when you see the Flash for the first time, because I thought that was a cool scene. That was an awesome scene.
Really
as soon as that part came in, I was like, okay, I'm hooked in once again. Because again, Batman yet again has another reason why he can go after Superman. Not just because of all those threats to his family, not just because of all that stuff, because of Lex Luthor, which I'll get to in a little bit, but again, that scene onwards, I was totally hooked in from that moment again. But everything before that, I was just like, okay. The first time I saw the film, I did feel the length, but here even more so, I truly felt the film's length. Like, it's 2.5 hours. I easily could have felt like if you cut out the Lois Lane subplot, the magic bullet, I honestly feel like the pace would have been a lot better. That's just me, though. I feel like it could have been cut out entirely.
I don't know. I kind of felt like it sort of gave some semblance as to who... they're trying to figure out, Lex Luthor is really the one behind all this. That was really the ultimate conclusion that whole subplot figured.
Speaking of the beginning of that scene when Superman kills that guy, like, that was one of the major problems I had with his character right there, because in Man of Steel, if you guys remember, Superman killed Zod. He killed Zod, and David S. Goyer, who I'm not a fan when it comes to screenwriting. I'm not a big fan of him, nor as of Missouri, because if you've seen Blade Trinity, that movie is horrible. But his reasoning for writing that scene, I understood the reasoning, because, he has to understand that he cannot kill. And in that opening scene, when you first see him, right off the bat, he kills somebody. And because the thing is, I remember in Man of Steel, he didn't kill his teacher as a kid. He burnt the doorknob. So I'm thinking, like, you couldn't have burned the gun or something like that to make it ineffective or something like that?
I think ultimately the reason why, because, Superman's greatest weakness is, besides kryptonite, is Lois Lane.
Yeah,
and if anyone that threatens him feels like his emotions go out of control.
I mean, I could see why, but it's just like, you should have learned your lesson the first time, dude. And then all of a sudden he has that same talk once again. It's like, there are consequences. I was like, you heard that the last time. Do we have to repeat your lessons the second time?
Yes, because we're trying to forget Man of Steel.
The script altogether, it's a well-written script for the most. It's a well-written script. It's just how it's cut together in the editing room. That's honestly, that's the film's weakest thing is the editing.
If they had a better editor, they probably would. It probably would have went a little bit smoothly.
Bring in the guy who edits Christopher Nolan's movies, seriously, like, because all the Dark Knight movies are edited so well. They're all edited, and this guy edited Man of Steel, which explains why it wasn't.
They kept the same editor.
Yeah, they kept the same editor.
Okay, because I was about to ask, was it the same editor?
What I was really impressed with how much they did put in here.
Yeah.
What I wasn't impressed with where everything was cut together.
Yeah.
Okay, when it comes to Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor, I will say this.
Right.
In my initial review, when I said I was impressed by him, what I meant to say, honestly, was that he was better than I thought he was going to be. Because there were times where he was awful, but then there were times where I was like, okay, I'm buying this. Like the scene where he's like, step into my office. What do you want? And then all of a sudden when he feeds him the freaking candy, I was like, okay, that was actually pretty funny.
It's cherry.
That scene, I was actually laughing.
That's why I like Lex Luthor. That's why I like his version of Lex Luthor, because it was different and it was like a little bit more charismatic type of.
I was laughing at the fan screen. And I was laughing that time because I was like, you know what? That was a scene that was well done. Like the scene where he pushes Lois Lane off, and then Superman comes up. Oh, we're in some trouble tonight. I was laughing hysterically when I first saw that. But everything before that, I felt like, okay, he has daddy issues. I'm not buying into this, but he has daddy issues.
Lex Luthor, his main purpose, besides, he's trying to be better than his dad, I'll say that much. If they would explain why he's trying to be better than his dad a little bit more, there probably would have been. And it's also, he's trying to prove that he's better than gods himself. He wants to rule over gods. That scene where Superman's kneeled down and he's like, now I have this. That was really good.
I loved that scene. Like, when I was like that, I was like, okay, I'm seeing some Lex Luthor in him. That was really good there. And then, it's just, oh god, the scene where he got his head shaved, I was like,
now you know he's gonna be probably a little more vicious now.
Yeah. Oh, this scene where he's like, tick, 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 tick. I was just like, Lucas, I was like, you see that snot bubble out of his nose right there?
Yeah.
But before that, when Batman comes in, it was like all the lights. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, that's what confused me. It's like, how did he get past all the guards?
I honestly, I don't care because how he entered there was pretty badass.
That was pretty cool. I will say that.
That was badass. Another thing I absolutely loved was Wonder Woman's entrance. Both times I saw the film, the crowd went nuts.
Yes.
Both times. I have to say right now, Gal Gadot, I have shat on you previous times in films.
Like Fast and Furious?
And 999. This is definitely her best performance. Easily her best performance, I have to say. I mean, even though she doesn't say a lot, but the physicality she had for Wonder Woman, like, I loved her attitude that entire fight against Doomsday.
Yeah.
Now, right there, Doomsday. Again, just like the trailer, I could not get behind him at all. I just could not get behind him.
I think this is the part where we differ in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I just don't know. It's just like with Doomsday CJ. Like, okay, so they wrapped up filming in December of 2014, right? They have 1.5 years to clean up the CGI. They have 1.5 years. Like, okay, Dawn of the Planet of the apes have never looked more realistic ever. Where in Dawn of Justice, the apes looked better. Talking apes looked better than an alien creature.
I didn't really think it was that bad. I mean, it's definitely. It looked a lot cooler than Harry Potter's CGI, like in the very first early years. It wasn't as bad as that. I didn't even think it was that bad. I thought it was a pretty convincing Doomsday.
But that entire fight, though, I will admit, was an awesome fight. It was a great fight. Like, I loved it when Gal Gadot got knocked down. I was just like, oh, he jumps right in. I was like, God, I love that attitude. I loved how it showed the lasso of truth and everything. That was badass. What I also did like was how, like, now some people say, like, the Justice League tie-in was a little shoehorned. I actually kind of liked how they brought about the Justice League. It was great. The Flash was my favorite cameo in the entire film. My favorite cameo, easily. Because Ezra Miller, if you've seen Perks of Being a Wallflower, loved Perks of Being a Wallflower, and he was great as the Flash. And when we saw the security camera footage, the first time I saw that, I was actually kind of laughing a lot.
It's like, ugh.
Like, he was just like,
He was like, ugh.
Cyborg, honestly, I
didn't even notice that was Cyborg.
That was Cyborg, yeah. The Cyborg one, honestly, I was just like, okay. And Aquaman, he just stared at a camera. That was it. And of course he hit the trident. But when he moves away, that was bad. It's like what I was hoping for was that the camera would follow the thing, and then a shark would eat the camera. That's what I was hoping would happen.
But then it would look too much like Jaws.
I would prefer to Jaws like sequence at that point. Honestly, my main flaws with the film were with the editing.
Yeah.
Jesse Eisenberg for me was he impressed me, but he was still all over the place for me at least. And the CG here and there was just like, and I felt the film was a little too long. That's just my thing though. I just felt it was a little too long. Like, cut out the Lois Lane thing with the magic bullet. Cut out a few scenes like here and there. Just like let some scenes let scenes run a little bit longer. Like the funeral scene. I loved the funeral scene.
Yeah, that was really good.
Brilliant scene. Again, very reminiscent of Watchmen. I didn't feel emotional, but I will say this: both times I saw the film, I got emotional at one point, and that was Wonder Woman's entrance.
Yeah.
That was the one time, like, the music that went along with her, and you see that one shot where she's like this, just playing down her arms, then the music going on, I was just like, oh.
And then the cheering from everybody else.
Oh god, I was like, oh my god, I'm getting emotional once again. The one time I got emotional was when a girl arrived on screen. But
what does that say about you?
I love girls. Here's my final gripe with the director in general. Zack Snyder, as much as I appreciate what he does, like, I loved Dawn of the Dead, I loved 300, I loved Watchmen. The thing is with Zack Snyder is that he was able to pull off an ensemble cast with Watchmen. I thought he was able to pull it off. But the thing is, when it comes to something as well known as the Justice League, because Watchmen, a lot of people didn't really know about Watchmen except for diehard fans, yes. And he was able to pull off Watchmen. I feel like he was able to. But when it comes to Justice League, I don't feel like he's able to pull that off. I really don't think he's able to do it. He'll need to pull off what Joss Whedon did with the Avengers. And Joss Whedon is a miles better than director than Zack Snyder, because when it comes to Justice League, you need to not only have great visual storytelling, but great narrative storytelling. Where Joss Whedon was able to, make every character relevant, and the Avengers, give them all their different screen time. Zack Snyder did that with Watchmen, don't get me wrong. But with Justice League, it's just, I don't know. I don't have a good feeling about him directing Justice League. I don't know.
I think he took it for more of a business side of things.
Oh yeah, that's the thing I forgot to point out. The fight between Batman and Superman itself was an awesome fight.
That was really cool. I was expecting it how I expected it to go down.
I wish it was longer. I wish it was longer.
I thought it was too long.
It takes about an hour and a half, almost 2 hours to get to that fight. Almost 2 hours to get to that fight. And then, all of a sudden, and then it happens, and how like they get to each other, and that one shot like they're facing each other, awesome shot. My god, my biggest problem with the fight was how it ended, because because Batman is about to kill Superman, he's about to kill him, and I was like, okay, cool, I'm loving where this is going, and he's like, Martha was like, wait, where did you hear that name? Where did you hear Martha? Why did you say that? And then Lois Lane is like, because that's his mother's name too. I was just like, okay. And all of a sudden he lets him right back and was like, okay, I will defend your mother. I was like, so let me get this straight. Just because your name is Martha, because both their names are Martha, they're gonna team up? I was just like, come on.
Well, here's the thing about that. I think Batman, Bruce Wayne, has always saw Superman as being a god with no emotion.
Right.
And now that he's finally seeing Superman as actually having someone with an emotional tie, it's showing his human side.
I mean, I could see, I can understand where you're coming from there, but just like, I just wanted to hear a little bit more of like a talking thing between the two before. It's like, okay, you know what, I'll help out your mother. I was hoping just for a bit more explaining on that side, but I just felt like how it ended was just, I was like, okay. But the fight itself was a badass fight. Itself, it was awesome. And with the sound effects during that fight in particular, oh my god. If you saw it in IMAX, you felt every punch and kick. It's like, your mom's name Martha? Cool, my mom's name Martha. Let's team up and form the Justice League.
Yo, bro, let's go drinking.
The scene from that when Batman's saving Martha Kent, that was an amazing fight scene. Like, I also I said this to Joe and Lucas, take the Arkham Knight games, take the Arkham games, that would be what the Arkham games would be, pretty much. This was the one time where Batman did not kill, because Batman does kill in the movie. He does kill. Which, I mean, people are upset, but you know what? I honestly liked that. Like, it was different.
People stop trying to compare this to the comics. The movie's not trying to be like the comics. They're taking concepts from comics. That's it.
Then all of a sudden, when he's like, hey Martha, I'm afraid of Clark. She's like, I got it. It was the cape.
Yeah.
Going to the sacrifice, yes. That was one of the scenes that I was like, oh shit. Like the very first time I saw it, I was like, oh fuck, he's gonna die right here? Like as soon as he looked at the spirit, I was like, wait a minute. And they're gonna god.
It's gonna happen.
And then when he does that, I was like, oh crap, like, okay, I'm liking this direction right here. I'm really digging it. And I was thinking, I was like, wait, he's not dead. They're gonna bring him back for Justice League. I just know it, yeah. I will say the script is a little too jam-packed, but I was impressed with what Chris Terrio put in there. I was impressed with what he did put in there. I'm not saying, like, it's the best screenplay ever written, per se. Yeah, but for what he did pack in, he did a good job for what he packed in.
Yeah, it doesn't deserve all the crap it's been getting.
Again, for me, it's not the script, it's the editing's fault. But so overall, my thoughts have changed, but not by a lot. So my very final score for Dawn of Justice is now a 3.5 out of 5. I still enjoyed the film. Honestly, it's just a bit of the first half is a mess. It's a mess in how it's edited together. I still enjoyed it. It's basically, I call the movie an enjoyable mess. That's how I call it. The nightmare scene, I will say right now, was my favorite part of the entire film. That scene was so badass. I loved that fight. The one-shot take, oh my god. I was just like, damn!
I give it the same score.
Okay, 3.5. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think it deserves a 30%.
Honestly, at the most, I think it deserves Man of Steel's score, to be honest.
I think it's better than Man of Steel.
I mean, there are some areas where it's better, and there's some areas where I think it's lacking. So
yeah, I know, but really, not as bad as Man of Steel's. I mean, that movie I can never watch again.
Those were Joe and I's thoughts on our spoiler-filled discussion on Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. Now, there's a reason why I brought Joe onto this video, so Joe, you have the floor.
All right, so. So you probably saw the Facebook status on the Putnam Crew page, which is now deleted.
Oh, it's been deleted?
Yeah.
I didn't even notice that shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
And on Austin's page, I am only gonna be doing special videos from now on.
Kind of like these.
Yeah, kind of like these.
And the top 5s too.
Yes.
Maybe top 10s, but we'll talk about that.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna do a lot of reviews anymore. Sort of the fact that there were several moments. I mean, definitely last year's debacles with everything that's happened.
Right.
Certainly because of the fact that I think some of our fans have been very cynical about certain movies.
Really?
Watching the Oscars this year was just a little too hard this year, considering what with that whole mess that was.
Yeah,
what that was. It wasn't as just watching it just wasn't as fun because of everything that happened, and I know some of the fans were upset over it. I also got a full-time job that I don't get to see a lot of movies now. I've been exhausted a lot of times, and I just don't get to see a lot of films, so I can't be in a lot of reviews.
Right.
But I definitely do want to be in very, very special ones, like the ones that really bring a lot to the table in a lot of ways. Like this one, for example. Yeah. I would have been totally on board doing that one.
I was one who asked you to come on board with this one. So.
Yeah, so that one was really cool.
But you always have a place here in the crew, Joe. Always will. Maybe we'll come back and do a top 10 best. Who knows? But yes. Anyways, guys, wish Joe good luck for his career. Best of luck to you, my friend. And yes, thanks also for joining the spoiler review for Dawn of Justice. And yeah, until the next, I guess, time I do a spoiler review, I don't know when that will be, but until the next video in general, I will see you guys next time, so see you guys.